In this demo, I'm going to show you how to install a server core and what it looks like. Now, there is really no need for you to do this in your own environment because everything we can do on server core, we can do with the operating system we already have installed, which is the desktop experience. But for the server core, the first thing I'm going to do is go to Hyper-V Manager, and I'm going to create another virtual machine. So new virtual machine. Now, we saw these options when we created the RTS-DC1 virtual machine, so we won't spend as much time on those. It's basically going to be the same, just a different virtual machine name. I'll choose Next, and I'm going to name this RTS-Core, and we'll click Next on the name. For the generation, I will choose Generation 2, like we did before. For the startup memory, I'm going to select 2048. And I'm going to click Use Dynamic Memory again. And I'll choose Next for that. For the networking, I'm going to put it on that V switch. And I'll click Next. The virtual hard disk, everything stays default there. It's going to create its own virtual hard disk. So we'll choose Next. For the install an operating system from a boot image file, I'm going to select that middle option, and we'll browse and select the ISO file that has Server 2019, and we'll just click Next. That's our summary. Everything there is correct, and I'm going to choose Finish. Now I'm going to go back to the RTS core, and I'll just double click that, and we'll start. I'll press a key to boot, and that is off and running. Now, this is a smaller operating system. Installs a little faster than the desktop experience operating system we installed a moment ago. Just like installing the desktop experience we did earlier, for the language, everything is staying default here. So English language, time, currency, keyboard, not changing any of those settings. I'll choose Next. Install now. This brings up the list of operating systems. Now, notice this Windows Server 2019 standard evaluation does not say desktop experience. That is the core version. Now, you can see here it says recommended. This option omits most of the Windows graphical environment, manage with a command prompt or PowerShell, or remotely with Windows Admin Center or other tools. Now, this has a much smaller footprint. It also consumes less resources. And by footprint, I mean it does not run as many services. It does not listen on as many ports. So it's a more secure operating system, largely because it's a smaller operating system. Now, there's also Data Center. That's a core as well. Gives you the same message. There are just a few things we can run in Data Center that I cannot run in Standard, like network controllers and some of those things we talk about later. But whichever edition you have purchased, your product key will activate Data Center or it will activate Standard. So whichever one you purchase is the one that you would have to install. Meaning if you purchase a Standard copy, you can use that media that came with it and you could install Data Center. But when you enter the product key and attempt to activate, it would simply fail. So I'm going to choose Data Center Evaluation. And we'll just click Next. I'll accept the license terms. And I'll click Next for that as well. And I'm doing a custom install, which is really a clean install since we're not upgrading. That's the hard drive that has been created. We'll just choose Next. And that's going to go through the installation process and it's going to reboot. That install is complete. I'm going to move my slider to put this in full screen here, and I'm just going to connect. you'll see looks very different already. But it says the user's password must be changed before signing in. So I need to set the default administrator password is what it really means. So I'll just hit enter for that, and I will set my password. That password's been changed, and now we are automatically signed in. This is server core. There's no desktop, there's no icons, there's no start menu. You are loaded into a command prompt anytime you log in. So our install of server core is complete.